The strongest men you'll ever meet rarely speak much. Not because they are weak with words, but because they know the truth. Explaining yourself is the game of fools. The moment you start explaining yourself, you admit something dangerous. That your life, your choices, your path, require permission. That someone else's approval has weight over your existence. That you owe them a justification for why you breathe the way you breathe, why you grind the way you grind, why you stand the way you stand. But you don't, and you never will. The silent law of power. Powerful men move without commentary. They let their actions speak in a language that cannot be debated. When you walk into a room with quiet conviction, the world studies you. Not because you announce yourself, but because your energy demands attention. Meanwhile, the fool is explaining why he failed, explaining why he's late, explaining why his dreams haven't manifested, explaining why he deserves respect. He wastes his life constructing arguments instead of constructing himself. He builds excuses instead of building legacy. The law is simple. The more you explain, the less they believe you. The less you explain, the more they watch you. Weak men chase validation. Let's strip it bare. Why do men explain themselves? Why do they try so hard to convince others of their intentions, their worth, their dreams? It's weakness. It's the need to be seen. The need to be understood. The desperate hunger for validation that will never come. Because here's the raw truth. Nobody cares about your reasons. The world only cares about results. They don't care that you meant well. They don't care that you tried. They don't care that life was unfair. They don't care about your story, your struggle, your excuses. The world doesn't run on sympathy. It runs on evidence. And evidence isn't in your words. It's in your scars. Your consistency. Your achievements. Your unshakable presence. The weight of explanation. Every time you explain yourself, you give away energy. Energy that should have gone into building, into discipline, into silence and forward motion. Instead, you leak it into the void of opinion. And opinions are endless. Explain yourself to one critic, another will rise. Convince that critic, 10 more appear. You can spend your whole life trapped in the cycle of, please understand me. But a man who needs to be understood will never be free. The freedom of silence. Silence is the weapon of the Stoic. It unnerves people. It creates mystery. It shifts the burden of interpretation onto them. When you stop explaining, you stop defending. And when you stop defending, you reclaim power. Think of history's great men. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Miyamoto Musashi. They did not waste breath convincing the crowd of their worth. They lived it. They embodied it. Their silence was louder than speeches. Because silence says, I owe you nothing. Not my reasons. Not my time. Not my breath. And in that absence of explanation, people feel the weight of your being. Explaining versus executing. You can't do both. Every second spent explaining is a second stolen from execution. Which will matter 10 years from now? That you tried to explain why you failed? Or that you bled in silence and built something undeniable? Execution is proof. Execution silences doubters without a word. Execution makes your enemies choke on their disbelief. Imagine two men. The first spends hours arguing, defending, justifying his dreams. The second says nothing, disappears, works, and returns with results no one can ignore. Who holds the power? Who do people follow? Who do they respect? The second. Always the second. The enemy is inside. Here's the real sting. Most of the time, when you explain yourself, you're not even talking to them. You're talking to yourself. You don't fully believe in your path. so you explain it to convince yourself it's real. You don't fully trust your discipline, so you talk about it instead of living it. You don't fully own your decisions, so you dress them up in words hoping someone else will validate them. But you don't need validation. You need war. War with yourself. With your weakness. With that voice that keeps begging to be understood. The brutal reality. Let this sink deep into your bones. Most people don't care about your life. They're too busy fighting their own battles. They don't care if you win. They don't care if you lose. And they don't care why. The only people who care about your explanations are the ones rooting for your failure. Because they get to feed on your excuses. But when you stop explaining, you starve them. When you stay silent, you become unpredictable. When you just act, you become untouchable. Silence is a mirror. When you refuse to explain, people project their own assumptions onto you. Some will think you're arrogant. Some will think you're wise. Some will think you're dangerous. Let them. Their interpretation is not your responsibility. And often, their assumptions serve you better than any explanation could. A silent man is a mystery. And mystery is power. When you bleed, don't announce it. There will be days you're grinding in the dark. Bleeding. Hurting. Breaking. The weak man explains his pain. The strong man just bleeds and keeps moving. And when he finally emerges, people don't remember what he said. They remember what he became. They remember the scars, the transformation, the undeniable weight of his presence. Nobody respects the man who says, "I'm trying." They respect the man who tried in silence and came back unrecognizable. The Stoic Way. The Stoics had a principle. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Don't tell people you're disciplined. Live disciplined. Don't explain why you chase greatness. Just become great. Don't waste words defending your choices. Turn those choices into proof. Let your silence be your sermon. Let your endurance be your argument. Let your life be the answer. The final cut. Only fools waste energy explaining themselves. Wise men conserve their energy for the fight. Every ounce of energy you spend on explanations is energy stolen from mastery. Every excuse you build is a brick in the wall of mediocrity. So stop. Stop defending. Stop convincing. Stop justifying. Just bleed. Just build. Just become. And when they ask you years from now, "Why did you do it? Why didn't you explain?" you'll look them in the eye and smile. Because by then, your existence will be the only explanation they'll ever need.